For as long as ReZero anime has been out, I've never understood the one big criticism it has: Subaru Natsuki. Some people absolutely hate Subaru. I mean, every time I post a clip of ReZero on X, I at least get one guy saying, "But Subaru's annoying." Which you would think means that they would love ReZero because, I mean, come on, its main mechanic for the series requires Subaru to die. Gutted, smashed, splat, cursed to death, chomp, head smashed like a grape, hung, sliced, so on and so on. Even still, I sort of understand this criticism. I mean, Subaru is kind of a dumb kid at first, because he's a dumb kid, like, kids do. He's eccentric, he's annoying, poses like he's a massive Saturday Night Fever fan. Even still, all of Season 1 and even into Season 2, I was a big Subaru apologist. The guy's just dealing with a shitty situation the best that he can. And even when he's at his most unbearable and most snotty, I sort of find myself understanding due to sheer paranoia his situation creates. I mean, how would you feel if people around you kept forgetting the painful sacrifices that you do? Now, as Season 3 has met its mid-season finale, I can't help but find myself reminded once again what an absolute incredible series ReZero is. To be honest, with as much as we are overflooded with isekai series, season after season, very few floating to the top, let alone rocketing up to orbit, it's enough that makes you want to disconnect it from its own category, similar to other properties like Mushoku Tensei. That's because ReZero isn't just another isekai. It isn't just another fantasy series. It's ReZero, damn it. It's a damn good story. Back when Season 1 aired in 2016, admittedly, the initial hook of the series was the shock value. Our Subaru finds himself transported to another world, is overcome with joy and dreams of becoming an OPMC. His inner chuny self tries to blast villains. He desperately awaits his heroine rescue scene, all before getting himself wrapped up in a situation where he wants to help this pretty girl with her troubles, and dies uncomfortably gruesome deaths. Over and over again. Every time he dies, he resets to a certain point in time, and only he remembers what happened in the previous loop. Everything that he's achieved, undone. Everyone that he's met, now a stranger. Now that's fine and all, but we're not getting to the hook yet. At least for me. Shock value is one thing, but the reset mechanic isn't quite there yet. What follows is a series of gruesome resets where Subaru is driven to not make the same mistakes again and ultimately get to the good end. Now, why would he do such a thing is the massive question mark. I mean, one gruesome death is enough for me. See, Subaru has fallen head over heels for a girl named Amelia, a half-elf with beautiful silver hair. The problem is, he couldn't have picked a worse candidate for his heart. That's because Amelia is a candidate for the royal selection, a process to find the next ruler of the kingdom. And with her having a similar appearance to a certain evil witch of the past, many people don't like her or want her to be selected. Thus, many groups are working in the shadow in order to take her out. Over all these death, slow progression, and eventually meeting Amelia's sponsor, Rosewall, and his maids, we finally get to the point that had me literally hooked on ReZero. Yes, Rem. Rem. I'm kidding, but I really do love Rem. By the way, you're banned in my chat if you say who is Rem. No, the reason why I got hooked on ReZero during the whole Rosewall Manor thing was because it started to present a deeper element of Subaru's progression, or rather, regression for the sake of the story. Paranoia and frustration. The curse of the return by death. See, as Subaru is navigating to try to figure out why he's dying, he is constantly growing bonds with those around him, while simultaneously becoming paranoid with those same people. Who is killing him? Who is the threat? And yes, why does someone that he's been so close to in one loop want to kill him in the next? More specifically, the point in which he leaves the manor and Rem hunts him down. Subaru's frustrating cries as he's brutally killed hit me in a way that made me realize this series is going to be something special. It captures both the frustration of what the return by death causes Subaru, while also simultaneously reminds us that the people around him see his actions differently. It was a perfect encapsulation of the cause and effect of what Subaru is able to do. Not to take his power for granted, but also be mindful that things aren't pretty in this cutthroat world. Additionally, on top of that, another great thing this looping presented was a creative way for the viewer to get to know the characters of this world. Rather than slow down the pacing and drag out scenes with massive exposition dumps, we not only get to explore the characters through different paths Subaru takes, keeping it consistently fresh, but additionally, and this is the most important, we see characters in different light. In one loop, Subaru can be super nice to Rem, and we get to see the lighter side of her, while in another loop, he avoids her. And in the end, we get to see her dangerous side, that seeks to protect the manor. In one loop, Rem becomes cursed, and we see Ram go into a murderous rage, thus highlighting her willingness to destroy everyone in the manor for the sake of her sister. This is a great thing, because the characters of ReZero are some of my favorites in anime. Each and every one of them have a great design, interesting personalities, driving force, strengths, weaknesses, and most importantly, depth. It's rare to have a series where I just want a deep dive into every single one of them, which is honestly a really incredible feat because the cast at this point is huge. Ram's devotion to Subaru, yet her tragic past with her sister Ram. Ram's history with her sister and her devotion to Roswaal. Roswaal's longtime devotion to Echidna, and his history with her and Beatrice. Beatrice's longtime solitude and her final message from Echidna. I want Priscilla to step on me. The backstory of Betelgeuse and Fortuna. Otto's constant meddling in the background. Wilhelm's history with his family. I ship Mimi and Garf. Felt's rise from street rat to the leader of the outcasts. Reinhardt's too damn OP and hot. Garf's struggle with his family, and so on and so on and so on. Shoot, even the villains of the series have me super intrigued. Which reminds me, both Tape and White Fox absolutely nail villains. Every time one shows up, there's this strong sense of dread that just comes with them. To be truthful, the weight of their rival is often facilitated by Subaru's lack of power, but additionally testament to the closeness that we have to the characters. We don't want to see them suffer, we don't want to see them harmed, and unfortunately with the reset aspect, they will get harmed because a reset can happen. Even still, being presented with powerful allies like Reinhardt never alleviates the fear of dread that the series creates. Betelgeuse's creepy personality as he effortlessly turns the powerful Rem into a pretzel. Capella's twisted nature to turn everything into grotesque things. Regulus blasting Subaru's leg off with a pebble. Pandora erasing that very same Regulus from even existing. Shoot, even to this day, the existence of Elza and Garf's mind fills me with foreboding that I still can't shake off. Though there's antagonist characters that I'm honestly excited to see what they do with. While at first characters like Henkel can be dirtbags, I just assume at some point Tape will end up explaining them in a way that makes them at least understandable even if they remain dirtbags. Overall though, the characters are great. It's similar to my love to something like Bungo Stray Dogs, where no matter what character the scene focuses on, I'm intrigued to know what they think about the current situation, or what they plan on doing. Like right now, Al and Otto are on my sus list. They know too damn much. Now, here's the thing. While I love the reset mechanic of ReZero and its effects on Subaru and those around him, it's not as if I want this concept to become repetitive. Thankfully, ReZero doesn't do this. It constantly evolves the formula and never gets stuck in one place for too long. I have a massive respect for the author Tape's willingness to refresh the formula on a regular basis. Yes, the return by death thing is still present and it happens, but it's thankfully not utilized too much. Instead, he pivots to my next favorite aspect of ReZero, its world. God damn if I don't have a million questions. And thankfully at the same time, I trust him to deliver on them. Tape has a knack for intrigue that I rarely find elsewhere. He knows how to guard his cards, and he doesn't reveal them too quickly. I've spent so much time speculating on why Subaru's there, why and if the Witch of Envy brought him there, her connection to Amelia, the witches, if they're really sealed away, the archbishops, how they gained their power, what are they after, what the royal selection really is, what's Pandora after, the divine dragon, the cult, the sword saints, the gates, the magic system, the mechanics. It's all just constantly tickling my brain. The thirst for more bits of information keeps me hooked, and if something is answered, 5 more questions are created. I just love that trickle, and Tape is a genius at it. Season 1 really pulled off a nice gradual introduction to the world, the main plot line of the royal selection, Subaru's circumstances for being there. Season 2 did a good job of diving deeper into the witches, and ultimately the bigger threat within, Roswaal. But Season 3 really managed to kind of flip the table on me, as we are presented with at least 4 main key figures of the witches cult, while also banding together the main figureheads of the royal selection. It's 5 princesses versus 4 archbishops that has me anxious to see how the dust settles. Why that is because Tape is really good at kind of throwing in twists and turns that keeps each encounter interesting, which is why I'm sure this battle royale is going to be an epic one. Shoot, in the first half of Season 3, we got to see how Reinhard, who is like massively OP and beating the crap out of Sirius, ends up being literally Subaru's downfall. His power ends up being what takes out Subaru. It's just so well crafted. No scene, no interaction is ever boring. And that's not even to get into how amazing the presentation of this anime is. Sure, yes, they use CGI for crowds, they use it for transportation here and there, and some very important segments are being skipped only for it to be covered in the chibi anime shorts. But overall, the series has been a pleasure to watch. Establishment shots absolutely pull you into the setting, combat sequences are massive hype and well presented, moments of tension are always accented by great lighting and tense perspective shots. Still to this day, The cast scroll on Subaru carrying Rem to the manor lingers in my mind. Puck in the background, the snow picking up, the music playing. It's haunting yet so beautiful at the same time. Then of course there's the iconic chorus chants that always cement the most shocking moments. To top it all off, as mentioned earlier, the character designs are all unique and fantastic. Every time a new character hits the scene, I'm immediately hooked. Sadly, yes, some of the recent ones are getting a peppering of censorship, but sadly, them's the breaks these days. All of this is to say that ReZero has easily cemented itself as one of my favorite franchises of all time. I can't wait for each and every single episode, and the only fault that I can really find in the entire thing is, goddamn, bring back Rem. It's enough to make me extremely excited that one day I will dive into the novel series, and I'll be sure to make a video series on it when it happens, so stick around.